Off-road racing legends, Randy and Mandi Mastin are next.
What's up, guys? This is Jeremy McGrath, the King of Supercross, and you are listening to the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is Season 3, Episode 2. As a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Don't be afraid to comment below either. It helps grow our channel. Today's guests are born and raised right here in Toledo, Ohio. Actually, White House. A family that is tough as nails and likely passed you at an off-road race somewhere in the country or even the world. I want to welcome a father and daughter duo who I've had the pleasure of knowing and traveling the world with for almost 30 years. Welcome, Randy and Mandi Mastin, to the podcast. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Is this your first podcast?
Sure is.
Awesome.
And it only took us 30 years to get through the intro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a
Because this is the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast.
The. You guys say it like the Ohio State.
Okay.
The Toledo Track and Trail Podcast.
Okay. Let's get back
Well,
to
it's
Randy.
it's good to be back in the saddle,
Randy.
per se. And we've been, Marty, you did the episode 1 with Chris Brabula of season 3, but it's good to be back in the studio now that fall's upon us, and it's great to be doing this again. I've missed it, but boy, we've both been busy. You've had
Tons
friends
of stuff.
and your friend the Rain has hampered you guys
So I
over
had
at
plenty
MX
of time
Express. Exactly.
To do something, but didn't get it done. But I was going to make mention. Isn't this the best time to ride? I went by the park the other day when it was raining like 38 degrees. And there was like 5 people over there.
Yes.
So this is perfect time, right?
The state forest is the dirt is just phenomenal right now. It looks like chocolate.
Two
cake.
coats and 2 helmets and 2 gloves. And
Yeah, it'd be a little cold, but the dirt is literally perfect.
they look good. They were having fun. They were muddy and cold and wet and snowy and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, you gotta.
When do you like to ride? When it's 100 or when it's 50?
No, yeah, 60s, 70s, 80s, right there in that fair weather.
We don't live in Florida.
I may be from Ohio, but I don't like the mud
Are you
or
kidding?
cold.
Or warm.
like the
Are
wet
you
and muddy
Are you
stuff.
thinking about something I'm thinking about? Our trip
Oh God.
to
Yes.
Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay,
that one.
before we get into what's going on, let's hear a story.
Okay.
A story to get us going, get us warmed up here.
Let's save that one
Okay.
because that is a good one. I
Okay,
want to
yeah.
kind of start at the beginning just because my mind is just odd like that. I got to start in order.
Keep-
Where did I get that from?
No.
So my first recollection of you guys was Milan Excitement City. Okay, this is probably 1992, 93-ish.
They had dirt bikes back then?
They did.
Did they? Wow.
With motors.
Ooh.
And I was
Briggs and Stratton or
no.
no? They had
Honda.
Honda.
She was on a Suzuki.
I was going to say, I
we
was
won't hold that
Suzuki.
against
The
her.
RM.
Yeah, we
Suzuki
won't
80.
hold that against her.
So it was the first time I ever met Mandi, and I think we were both in the novice class. And I remember we had, I don't know if you remember, but we had there was a 4-way battle for first place. And I think you went down, but that was my first memory of Mandi. Like, wow, this girl's
Because
like,
you ran her over and knocked her down?
no, I
Is
didn't
that-
run her over.
Is that why you
No,
remember?
How do you know
I
that
never
I
hit
crashed?
Mandi, but I always hit her brother Cody.
Oh.
I
Okay,
took
well,
him
he
down
can
multiple
take
times.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can take it.
I don't hit girls, but anyway, although you were tough
On
enough
purpose.
to take it, you're definitely tough enough to take it. But yeah, I just, that was my first memory because I didn't really know who you were, and that was kind of before we linked up and stuff. But because I remember the long dark hair out the back of the helmet and being in front of me, and I just remember you went down, but you probably beat me in the second moto. But yeah, that was my earliest memory of.
She was giving you a chance. That's all. She just laid it over and said, okay, go ahead.
I was pretty good at crashing.
Well, you were like, I mean, you've always been fast, but like back in '80s, you were like really took some chances.
I did. Yeah. Up at Milan was the biggest chance I probably took. I don't even know how big.
When you messed your knee up?
Yeah. I don't know how big that double was,
I
but
had to come home and explain to your mother.
yeah, my mom exactly why we had to go to the hospital that night. And so that injury, I was 15 years old, is actually, I mean, it's haunted me ever since. So, I mean, now it's my knee's junk but I mean, I still got plenty of riding in.
This is motocross.
That was motocross.
Wow.
But that's about
It's
when
dangerous.
It is.
It's dangerous.
That's about when I quit riding, though, too. Like, I took a break because I got hurt, and then that's about when I quit, and you guys started transitioning over to the GNCCs.
Yes.
And you and Cody and you
Yep.
guys kind of all hooked together.
We
and
did. Yep.
Start going to all the GNCCs.
Yeah, because you kind of just stopped, which
Yeah.
understandably.
Which
No.
I had a height issue thing with going from the 80 to the 125.
But
was-
you, if I remember right, you did end up buying like a 125 Yamaha, didn't you?
We had
Yeah.
a RM, didn't we? It was an RM 125.
Was it RM?
No,
Oh.
no.
I think she had a Yamaha.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yep.
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 Yeah, but you didn't really do much with it. You kind of just
No, because I was just too short, and it was tall, and it was just balance, and
that happens. And so, what year is that approximately? You
96.
Okay.
96, 97 probably.
Okay.
That's probably what it had been.
Yeah, because we started really traveling around.
Yeah.
Well, 96, we went to the ISDE
Over
in
Finland.
Finland.
Yeah.
Yep, that was an awesome trip. So that was a good time. But you're motocrossing, then you start. I think was it around like 2000? What was your first 6 days?
The
Race.
first one that I went to was 2000, and I watched Cody and my dad.
Right, Spain.
Yep, Spain. And then the first one I raced was the very following year,
In
which
France, wasn't
yeah,
it?
in France. And
Yep.
up until I went with them, I hadn't really been riding.
Right.
I fell in love with it when I went to 6 days, and I was like, well, this is something I want to try, and I want to race it next year. And I did.
But I remember distinctly, like it took a while for you to kind of like develop your skills off road. I mean,
yeah.
you really kind of took some years of, developing the callus, if you will, to do it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, honestly, the first year that I went to 6 days, I probably shouldn't have been there. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't really that great of a rider. I mean, and I struggled a lot. But yeah, it took a lot. I mean, it took a lot of, years. That was 2001. So, I mean, I would say I rode till 2015, when you're
20 years
still-
ago. Where did this time
I
go?
know.
I don't know.
That's why when I was looking at the numbers
do
or
you
the
think
years.
going from off-road to motocross is easier than going from motocross to off-road?
Honestly, I was talking to about this with somebody the other day. I really feel like now, as you see Caleb Russell doing it last year, it's two completely different sports. I mean, it's the same industry, but you might think, oh, somebody that rides motocross or like in enduros or GNCCs could go to moto, but Caleb obviously couldn't. It's a completely different training and different mindset. So, I mean, I don't know if it's easier going from one way to the other because I think it's a whole new learning curve. Oh, it was you I was talking to.
Yeah,
I think it was
us. Yeah.
I mean, there's only a couple, unique individuals like Sipes and,
Ryan Sipes.
that can actually pull that off. I mean, that are phenomenal riders like that. But for an average person, I think you're going to be better at one thing, one side of, either moto or the off-road.
Well, it's very
better.
rare to have success. Can you do
Yeah.
it? Can,
Yeah.
Could Caleb, qualify for a national and then, get top 15? Yeah, he can, or top 20. But to
Compete.
to compete, who is the young kid that really? Ricky Dietrich.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, he did
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to motocross
Yeah,
for
he
a
was
while.
a works rider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that makes a big difference.
I think, this is my opinion, but I think the skills that you learn off road helps you in the motocross side of life
Better
a
s-
lot more than the motocross does in the off road.
Yes. With
I'm
the
afraid of
ruts
heights,
and-
so woods riding's great for me. I don't have
Yeah.
to get in the air,
Yep.
nothing. But I do think that the hand-eye coordination, your reaction time, all that kind of stuff. I believe because when you're going through the woods, you don't usually see the same corner twice. If you do, it's probably already changed 10 times.
Yeah, because-
So not that a motocross track you don't, but I don't know. We've seen some of the young kids that have been riding some of the woods that are they're starting to work on their motocross stuff now, which they're working at, and
Yeah.
I think they'll do well. But it just seems like they seem to catch it quicker. I think just because of some of the, like I said, the reaction time, hand-eye
Yep.
coordination, some of that, being able to react quickly. And that's first nature in off-road racing,
Yeah.
where you get on a track, I blow a corner, I got a wide
Yeah.
corner, So, but yeah, I'm just saying that because I'm biased. I'm an off-road guy, but anyway, that's good. I was going to say the first time I remember Mandi was at the Speedway gas station in Swanton.
Oh, yeah?
And you had 2 bikes on the back of a trailer, and you were headed to Fort Wayne. Was there a dealer there that helped with bikes? I was trying to think what they were.
I was probably headed. Was that when I was going out?
No, you were taking some bikes back because the new ones were coming or something.
Might have been when I was
Was it Beta?
my Huskies. Probably
Or
when
Huskies.
I went to meet
Huskies.
Jay. I
That's
was
what.
meeting Jay
Jay.
because
Yeah.
we were swapping out bikes.
Yeah, swapping out bikes.
Because so Jay at Hall Cycle, he sponsored me and his shop did, and I was going there. No,
Yep.
I do remember.
Yeah,
seeing
because
you there.
pull
Yeah.
up and here's this girl got 2 motorcycles, not just one, she's got 2, and so of course I see motorcycles, I got to stop and holler and say, hey, what are you doing motorcycles?
What
So-
year? How long ago was that? You think, Marty?
Oh my gosh!
10. It would have been
Yeah,
either
yeah.
2010 or 11 because
Yeah.
that was the years that I was on the Huskies.
Yep.
Because
I don't remember you being on Huskies.
No,
No, I don't remember that.
I raced.
You
I
don't
did
remember the
Finland
Huskies?
in 2000, and I did X Games on the Husky.
No, I remember the Huskies. No, I remember.
Yeah.
It's
So that's the first time I
Yeah.
got to meet Mandi.
yeah. Okay. Now I remember because they were still Husky then.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not,
just
not white KTMs.
Yeah.
No offense.
Or
no offense, Marty.
BMWs.
Yeah.
No offense, Marty. Don't be flipping the table over on us now.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say?
White KTM. That's what I say.
That's what I say. Much better.
I got
much,
a
much
I got a
better.
KTM, so I can't.
That's right.
I can't complain too much. But so let's jump to Randman real quick. So, because speaking of, I hear transition, and I think, you guys kind of did. Well, you both have similar pathways, right? You started motocross,
Motocross. Yeah.
and then you went to off road, but you were, Randy, a phenomenal motocrosser. From all the stories I've heard, and there's a lot of them. But
Some good, a whole lot of bad. No.
But what year? I mean, you grew up riding mini bikes, and right? Did you? What year did you start
No, I
racing?
started right on motorcycles. But yeah, I really didn't have no mini bikes. It was kind of when I got going, it was on motorcycles.
On big bikes.
Well, yeah, like 100cc bikes and stuff. Just
Which
going
was-
way back.
What kind of brand?
First one, Motobetta. Probably never even heard of that.
Never even heard of that.
Motobetta. Then a Sex, DKWs.
Heard of that?
Yep.
Yep.
And then it just trained.
So, who got you started? Was your dad or friends or?
No, my dad had to go over to Heinz Farm. They had races.
Never
back-
heard of that. The place.
Yeah.
Never heard of that. But back in
Griffin
70s.
Heinz Farm.
No, not Griffin back then.
Yeah, it was just Heinz.
It
That's
was
it,
Heinz
yeah.
Farm. To water their track. And I had a 50 Honda. Little old 50 Honda.
Wait.
No, wait.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, you're watering the track, and you're in the septic business.
Yes. With a septic truck, water the track. Yes.
So that's how you get rid of some of that stuff, huh?
I'm just a 10-year-old kid. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a 10-year-old kid. And at that point, I told Dad, I said, oh, man, I want to come over here and I want to race. At that point, it was I don't know what club. It wasn't Glass City. It was a colored
club.
Yeah, a colored club, but I
Yeah.
don't know who they were. Oh, they were good guys and stuff. And then they put on races.
Right.
And I can beat all
Was
these
this a
guys.
flat track?
No, they had a little scrambles track.
Oh,
back
did
then.
they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told Dad, oh, man, we got to come back here next time. I said, I can beat all these guys. Well, I got a 50cc. I'm a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid. I might have been 12, but 10 to 12, somewhere. Well, of course, then 2-3 weeks later, a month later, they called and want some water. Dad put the bike in the pickup, and I went. Of course, I got laughed. You know, it wasn't like the little kid thought he was going to do.
Right,
But
right.
that's what got it started right there.
Okay,
Heinz
okay.
Farm.
But you didn't really. Were you riding the 50 around the yard all the time, or you just?
Oh
kinda-
yeah, no, yeah. My dad had got me a 50 prior to that.
Okay.
It wasn't the step through like the girls style. It was the other. I say the girls style. You know, how they get
Right.
the one I read at Mid Ohio.
Oh, the passport?
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
the passport side. It was the other style. But yeah, I thought I was just some fast little guy. Well, went over there. Well, then immediately, that's when I got the bug, and then my dad bought me a bike after that.
Okay. Okay.
So now, did you race with Glass City or who'd you?
Well, then eventually, we started going to Glass City. There was a track up in Dundee, Michigan. We'd go there. Yeah, we started going to all these different tracks around. Yeah.
Now, because about that time, most of the races were put on by clubs.
Yes. And
It
they were
really
mostly
wasn't-
all, and back then they were mostly all scrambles.
Oh, scrambles.
Scrambles.
yeah, because it wasn't really motocross.
No, motocross wasn't really a thing. It was mostly scrambles.
So this is like late 60s.
Yeah, late 60s. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
My dad always told me this story, and I don't know if it's true, but we'll document it here. But was it your parents or somebody family you had, wasn't a property or something that weren't you guys part of a club or something?
Yeah,
What's that story?
they were part of the Maumee Valley Riders motorcycle
Okay.
club, and out on Providence, Indianapolis, Swanton Road.
Yes.
there was. I was so little, I don't know how that came about, but my dad was real involved in, and they had a track out there,
Okay.
and he would go out and prep the track all the time, and yeah, it was out there between Minneapolis and Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And then later there was another track that they over there. You know where the great. I don't know what right across from where the canal thing is in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there was a track right there.
Yes, on the hill.
Yeah, right up on the
yeah,
hill.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. Now they got grapevines.
Grapevines in there, yeah.
But,
Don't park in that guy's yard
oh yeah, no,
for
that
the apple
guy's a
butter
little-
fuss.
Oh yeah.
We got
He's-
ran right on out of there.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh, really?
that
Yeah.
guy's a little different.
Yeah. A lot different. Yeah.
But way back.
Oh, don't park in my yard either.
But if you're watching the podcast, we appreciate it. But thanks. Maybe sponsor the podcast. We get free parking for
Yeah,
the Apple
right.
Butter
There you
Fest.
go.
I don't
There
know.
you go.
Just throwing it out there.
But
But
way back in the day, they had horse auctions up on the hill. I have no idea how my dad pulled this off, and they let us down on that lower ground, that you can see from Old 24. They let us, I say us, them, put on races, and that's it just kept going from there and there.
that's awesome. So your dad was your dad ever a rider, or did he ever into it, or he just kind of
No,
just happened to be?
he just because
He
I
just
wanted.
provided the iron.
Yep. He
Provided the iron.
Well, he always had some like street bikes and stuff,
Right.
but he would by no means a
Nothing
dirt
off-road
no dirt biker at all.
Well,
No.
he kind of missed that. I mean, he was kind of ahead of that, right? I mean, before, before the
because,
revolution.
Yeah,
took off.
because when he was, that was kind of way before, So, but he all of a sudden I took interest in it, and man, he backed me all the way.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, none of us would be where we are without our parents. I mean, helping out and stuff, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, no, he took me all over, and then as it just kept progressing from there, and then just
Sounds like son, like father.
well, yeah, I mean, but you grew up. I mean, and I remember it would have been nice to calculate the thousands of hours we spent box fans going to races. I mean,
all
could you
over the
imagine?
country.
Could you imagine?
No, I can't imagine. It's funny.
Just think of the miles. That one year, how many miles did we put on that box fan? Wasn't it
it just-
100? I mean, doing.
Yeah, I mean, we would be all over the country.
I mean,
I'd tell my wife on a Wednesday or Thursday, I'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow." "Oh, where are you going?" "I'm going to Arizona. I'll see you Monday." She'd just say, "Okay." And me and Mandy, or me and Cody and Mandy off, or maybe me, you and your
Right,
dad, or
right.
and off we take.
Yeah.
We just.
Well, speaking of Arizona,
Yeah.
I might bring it up. Good friend of mine that I ride with out there, we were talking one day, and he goes, "Do you know the Mastins?" I go, "Yeah." "Do you know the Mastins?"
Is
He
this your
goes,
friend Marty?
Yeah. He goes,
Okay.
"Sure I do." And so Marty Hawk, yeah, he's in Carefree out there, and he's rode everything from desert racing to endurocross stuff and that kind of stuff. He's up in age now, still riding every day and all that kind of good stuff. But he said, "Make sure if you see him, tell him I said hi." So he says hi.
Okay.
So
Hi.
it was so funny.
Hi.
Yeah.
It just was so funny that, he like, yeah, I know the Mastins, that you don't find out somebody that, here is in Arizona. I'm thinking, wow, that's a long way away from home.
We used to travel all over
All over.
You know how it was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was nothing to say. Well, I mean, I raced in Oregon, Washington, Texas, just all over the country. I just wherever.
But you got to that, but doing off road.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was all off road.
off-road.
None,
Yeah.
How far did you go away racing moto? You think? I mean, hypothetically,
Just kind of in the Midwest.
Midwest.
Maybe Missouri, because obviously that's where it started out. That's way before what we're talking about now with this motocross, with this cross country. But yeah, Missouri, Tennessee, New York, New Jersey, kind of, Midwest to the east. And then all of a sudden I got the bug for the cross country, which I really, amateur level, I was pretty good motocross, but as soon as I started motocrossing professionally, it was like, I could see that I wasn't gonna, and then I don't know, I wasn't doing good.
Right.
Plus, I was like, well, I can go ride across country, ride all day, and that,
Yeah.
so that
Beat
was the kind of
yourself.
the
Because
trade.
I don't want to answer for you, but it wasn't, from my understanding, the kind of the Piasekis got you into more of the off road,
Oh, yeah.
didn't it? They kind of brought you along.
Jim was the big one.
Right.
Yeah, he was the oldest of the three brothers, and he was in the big time. And then, of course, I started doing enduros and the cross countries, and it just went from there.
Developed from there.
Yeah, and it's just like, wow, I like this a lot better than motocross.
What was your favorite motocross track? Because I want to be very clear. Randy rode nationals in 1970,
Probably
3, 4, 5 ish.
Yeah. Probably not the Mid Ohio that you're thinking of. There was another Mid Ohio back in the. It was called Mid Ohio, but it wasn't where the Mid Ohio where the air or the swap
Vintage
meet.
days is.
But that was a neat place down there, Mid Ohio.
Well, I actually looked it up, and you ended up and I didn't write the year down, but you were 17th at Mid Ohio on a 125 national. Did you know that?
No.
That's a lot of pedaling.
When you looked up, did you ever look up Indiana? I won one in Indiana.
No, I did not. That
was the only professional
I went to the
motocross
vault.
that I won.
This was on the vault.
The only professional motocross I ever won was in Indiana, at Butler, Indiana. They had
Butler.
Yep, Butler.
The Butler.
The
Like,
Butler.
That track's still there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they still have some redneck races there. Yep. But yeah, Butler had a professional motocross there, and I won that. That was the only time I ever won a pro motocross.
Really?
Yep.
I think if I remember right, wasn't there a picture of you getting the whole shot or something from there?
Oh, that I can't remember.
I remember a picture of you maybe on a 125.
But, well, no, at Butler I rode a Husky.
A Husky.
360 Husky.
Okay.
And, yep.
Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever won, Well, that was back in the day, Tony DeStefano.
Tony D.
Yeah, Tony D. Yeah. And, but yeah, that was the only time I ever won one.
So speaking of that, so racing against, I mean, you're racing against big names. I mean, do you remember any of the big names that you beat or might have beat? Because I got a question from a viewer. If
No, not really. The best race I ever had was in Delta, though. But that wasn't really. It was on the Saturday before the pro race. They had what they called a rabbit race.
yeah,
And Paul Slagle had put up $500, if I remember right. I mean, just going back a lot of years. And Mark Barnett
The
he was
bomber.
the rabbit. Yeah, oh yeah,
The bomber.
That's when he was the man.
He was the man.
He was the man. They put him in the first turn, and then everybody, I think it was the top 4 guys, 125, 250, and open class, got to they got on the line, and you got to race if you passed him.
And this is at a national.
Well, yeah, but it was on the Saturday.
On a
before
Saturday.
that, yeah.
Okay.
And so Paul put this $500 up. If you passed Barnett and beat him, you got $500. Well, it'd be like 5,000. Today's,
Right, right.
a kid,
Yeah.
18, 20 years old. I don't even know how to, And man, I had him in my sights, inside, outside, trying to pass him, this and that, but didn't get it done, though. But that was probably the best. That was probably the fastest motocross I ever rode. Was up and down.
If Paul was here, he would probably tell you who finished what and when on that same day.
And he,
in that
you know
order.
what's
well, and
funny?
he would tell you exactly what the dollar amount was, too.
Yeah, what time the race actually ended.
Oh, yeah. He was probably counting. Oh, am I going to have to pay Reed $500? But no, it was just one of those days that everything just clicked.
Yeah.
Bob Taylor.
Oh, yeah, Bob.
I mean,
We want to get him on here.
no,
badly.
he definitely was faster than me. There is no doubt. But that particular day, I mean, it was just everything clicked.
Yeah.
And I was riding for Pete Walker, Kawasaki at the time, one of his Kawasaki 250s, and it just one of those days that clicked, and nobody could stay with me, and it was a good day.
And you almost reeled in the bomber.
Just about had that $500.
Wait, Petey?
Oh yeah,
Petey?
Petey.
Like
Oh yeah.
Walker?
Oh yeah.
Walker?
Yep. Petey was my sponsor that.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, that Kawasaki boy, that was.
Well, actually, a couple hours ago before the podcast, Cody texted me. He goes, "Make sure you get the rabbit story."
Oh,
on
about the
pod-"
rabbit?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So
that
I'm
was
like,
it.
I'll definitely do that.
Well, what was funny though, then that was on Saturday. I raced the amateur program on Saturday. I think if I remember right, I just won every moto. I mean, just hands down. I mean, it was just one of those days. Between the track and the bike and me, it just
flowed.
I can remember that to this day. There was just no competition.
Right.
But then on Sunday, I rode a 125 Elsinore in the pro class. Got dusted pretty bad. Got dusted, and it was like, oh, wow, this is a reality check.
Right.
You was just a stock, 125 Elsinore.
I think they call it humbled.
Yeah,
humbled real
it's like,
soon.
oh.
Yeah, it does.
But no, on that cow that day, that was probably one of the best motocrosses I ever had.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time Kawasaki actually ran pretty good.
74. Oh man, those things. Oh,
Well, they were like a premier bike. I mean,
Right behind Husky.
beside the Honda, what
And
the Honda was the kind of the premier.
Yeah.
It depends on how you ask. Or
well,
who
if
you ask.
you ask Petey,
Yeah.
it was all his tuning that did it, which was basically a stock bike, I
Right.
think. But
right.
little shock work or whatever. Back then, there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff he did.
You
to the
couldn't
bike.
adjust too much.
No,
You
there
just
was
try
a
to
lot.
keep it together. I think it was half the battle.
That was but that was probably one of the best motocrosses I ever had.
That's awesome. Right in your backyard too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I remember you telling a story, and maybe it was my dad too, but because all the years we were going down the road, but maybe it was my dad, but I thought you said that you could ride, you would get on your bikes and ride like from Waterville to White House out to the state forest. And I mean, you kind of rode around here, didn't you? I mean, to practice and stuff.
Yeah, we could get. Yeah, but back then you could. Yeah, you could
You ride anywhere you want.
you could. Yeah, you get on your bike and ride off someplace, and then no, it's nothing like it is nowadays. Yeah, you don't have to worry about getting stopped right away. But no.
Yeah, because I mean, you were so you kind of get out of the motocross, you're getting into off road. When did you kind of feel like I don't want to say made it, but I mean, you kind of made it. I mean, when did you think like, okay, I can run with this? Because I know there's a story about you in Michigan with Burleson.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Basically 96 when we went to Finland, I started. Yeah, wasn't that 90?
Yeah, it was 96.
96. Yep. But prior to that, I was at an enduro up in Michigan, and me, Burleson, and Kevin Pisecki were on the same number.
This was in the 70s.
Yeah. This is getting back before.
This is late 70s,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
it would have been.
And at that point, I didn't know how to time. You know how the timing was with enduros. I didn't know how to time.
Right.
So I was just following off of Dick.
Right.
Well, I would be right on him all the way. That particular day, Kevin was a pretty good rider. I mean, he could, ride with us and all. But that particular day, was kind of off a little, but I was right on Dick all day long. He'd pull in a check, I'd pull it. We was score for score all the way through. Then all of a sudden, we pulled into a check, and he hit it 2 seconds early. And I was just behind him, and I hit it right on the minute. And he quit.
You zeroed it.
I zeroed it. He was a minute early. He quit that next check.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. And I, he just acted like, yeah, and it was. He actually quit. He was pissed.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I don't think he liked me
Right.
thinking I could keep up with him.
Right.
And it was just one of those days about like the motocross thing. It was just one of those days that everything was clicking. And normally Kevin would be right with me, but that day he was a little off and he couldn't. But
You were on it.
Yeah.
You were on it.
But I'll never forget that. He pulled in. He was like 2 seconds early. I pulled in. I zeroed. He quit. Next check. I don't know. I can't remember what the story was, but
Yeah.
he quit. But yeah.
And that was like
In my mind, I flagged
like it was
SBD.
District 14.
Oh yeah, it was just a district race. It wasn't a national.
Right.
But in my mind, I
But regardless, this is 8-time
Oh yeah.
Dick Broson.
Oh yeah. And I thought, well, in my mind, I beat you today.
Right.
But yeah.
That's that's impressive because I wouldn't. You told me that story.
Oh yeah. No, that was a good race that day. I had a lot of good races up in Michigan, but that was probably one of the best.
Now, for some reason, I always heard this story too, and then I actually saw it come to fruition in my own eyes. And I don't want to alienate our audience, but they're not really fans of Ohio guys.
Oh no,
coming up to the state of Michigan.
No, I don't want to mention no names, but there was a lady up there.
Yes,
that would more or less. I don't want to say no names, but in her son, me and her son talk a lot. I actually talked to him at your race.
Oh yeah,
earlier this year, and I talked to him last year. And I think he always knew that she didn't like us because at one point she made a remark. Oh, you Ohio people come up here and think you could. I can't even remember nowadays what it was, but yeah, they didn't like Ohio people going up there and beating any Michigan people.
Well, I tell you what, I've said it on the podcast before. I'm a Wolverine fan, and
Go blue.
Go blue, and thank goodness they're doing well. We'll see what happens the Saturday after Thanksgiving. But, I remember when Cody won the District 14, it was the only time in my life I ever cheered or chanted OHIO at the banquet. Because, it is a big deal because look at all the legendary racers that come from Michigan. Off-road, the Keens, I'm thinking more my generation, Bersano and, Calkins and Galt. All them guys they were all national caliber riders too, It's like, but for an Ohio.
Well, it's like when Cody won the Jack Pine.
Right.
It wasn't a national that year, but there was still, you had a bunch of good guys.
There.
And, that was, I'll never forget that because, unfortunately, I wasn't there that day. I didn't go that day. But then when he called and said he won, I thought, wow. I never thought I would win Jack Pine, but,
Right.
All the years I went there,
right?
Just if I can get a good top finish, and then Cody wins it,
right.
And then of course, he had a lot of success up. I think actually he might have started changing. This is my thought of the way they kind of looked at it because he won a lot of races up there,
right?
How many championships did he win up there?
4.
4?
Yeah,
I knew he won a lot, and he won a lot of overalls up there,
right.
And I think. At one point, it was like this particular person I was talking about.
Right.
I think she kind of thought, well, I guess we got to give in to the Ohio people because they're coming up here and they're
more acceptable.
Yep.
Right.
But no, it was.
Well, look at how much. Especially, like the you guys were more. You two were doing more GNCCs, and my dad and Cody and I were doing the enduro. A lot of enduros up in Michigan, and think of all the money we're spending going up in there. It's. And I think they value that, and who can blame them? We're all handsome guys from Ohio.
And girls.
How could we not be liked? Right.
Handsome,
well, right. Well, true.
Good.
But at that point in time, you guys were riding GNCCs.
Yeah.
You were hot and heavy into that, real hot and heavy, and you guys won. Mandi, you started doing GNCCs. What year now?
That's
what's your cheat
Wait,
say?
what
was the first one?
Okay, so I did some research today, on Mandi Mastin, the racer.
Oh, okay.
Because
And you know her pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's been quite some time.
I guess you know her well because you've done a lot of research today.
Yeah, I pulled the resume.
Well, I told her, we were texting earlier, I said, you need to refer yourself in the third person.
That's right.
Mandi Mastin rode,
Well, I'm not Mandi Mastin anymore.
What was the first
I'm
year in
Mom.
CC I took you to?
The first year, Crawfordsville, right? I think it was Crawfordsville.
Indiana.
I mean,
Well,
the first
I know what year, though.
the first hair scramble that you took me to
Was there
after we
scrambles
got
on that 400
yes,
KTM?
after we got back from Spain 6 days. When I said I want to ride 6 days, my dad brings me home and says, "Well, if you want to race 6 days next year, you need to go ride Cody's 400 down at Galleon."
What were you, 15? No, you might have been 16.
I was 20.
Oh,
at
you're
that
20.
point.
Oh,
That was after high school.
20.
But
Yeah, because it was
whatever,
2000.
just a kid. Yeah.
So, and he's like, "You got to go ride this." And we went down to Galleon, and it had rained for 3 days.
Oh, my word.
And it was the worst experience of my life. But I finished. I rode. I don't know. I probably only did a lap and a half in 3 hours. But
Doesn't matter.
400 and rainy, nasty.
Big old 400.
Yeah.
We're not that heavy in the mud.
No,
I made a
not when
ride
you first start.
I made a ride that was in the fall.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump
Yeah,
in.
and then, yeah.
And then I made her ride that a little bit. I thought, well, if she's determined, she's either going to say, "Kiss my butt. Oh, man, I'm not going to do this."
Right.
Or I'm going to. Well, and then, do you remember what happened when we went to Florida then in
Yeah,
March?
because I was
Yeah,
supposed to ride.
yeah.
We took that bike down
I
there.
took
He's
that
like, "Well,
400
that's
down.
what you're gonna ride." And then Alan
She just
ran.
went
He
along
had
with
a
it.
yeah.
I
I was
knew-
like, "Whatever, okay, I'll ride it." I mean, okay.
Got to
And
Florida.
then, yeah.
Alan had a new 200 sitting there. Yeah, I said, "Hey, don't. This is total going to be a surprise. Just have a new 200 for her there." I thought, and then that's when she started riding the 200 KTM.
You like that 200?
I do. I still have one.
Yeah.
Yep. I like the 4 strokes, but yeah. I mean,
Well, that was kind of your bread and butter bike for a long time. You rode that a long time.
yeah.
The 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 200.
I
It's
think,
good.
I think
It
you
just
dabbled into the 250 once in a while, if I remember right.
here and there, but
Yeah.
I just the 250 seemed to have, I don't know, too much power for me. The 200 was nice, smooth, more. Was that blend between the 125 and
Yeah.
200? I guess
Yeah.
I did not ever like the 144. You were.
Oh,
you
yeah.
loved
You
that
and my
one.
dad were.
God, yeah.
Yeah, 145.
Oh, that 140.
You guys
They
are
were
ready
like,
to start a website, 144freaks.com or
Oh,
something.
they were.
I put that 144 kid in there. And the thing wasn't much faster. I mean,
was
it really
just
wasn't
all
any
in the
fast.
low end. It was all
just had-
low end, just right off. the-
Grunt.
Yeah.
And 200 is a nice bike. I had a 200 for a while. It just wasn't for me. And so one of my buddies out in Arizona, he heard that I had it and I was getting rid of it. It's like, "Say, bring it to me. Bring it to me. You know, I want it." And he has it to this day. He rides all over. He still rides up in Colorado. He rides Arizona. He rides all over that bike. And I just could never get the feel of it, you know. And Marty had me out there, and he's okay, you know. He's getting my, you know, tell me to get my arms up and get me there. And I play, you know, work the throttle and stuff. And so we were riding in some desert stuff there in Carefree, and we came across a guy and a girl. And so they're like, "Hey, do you know where the parking lot is?" You know, we're over from California getting a new van, and they were R&D riders for a magazine. And so we're like, "Oh, great. That's, you know, that I'm trying to get used to this bike. I'm riding with these guys, you know." And so I told him, I said, "Marty, you lead them out. I know where the parking lot is. So if you guys get out and go, don't worry about me. I'll be behind, ways behind, but I'll be behind." You know, I said, so we're riding. Of course, you know, Marty's he makes a turn. He's always one of those guys that stops and make sure everybody's with him and stuff. And, you know, I'm like, go, go, go. And so I got my arm, you know, I'm trying to get everything positioned right and get the feel of this bike. And I look up and they're all watching me. It's like, oh, they're waiting for me, you know. So, man, I went, and that bike went, bang.
Oh, really? Threw you to the ground.
I mean, it was quick, you know.
Yeah.
Pick myself back up, and I get up there, and they go, "We'll give you a 10 on that. That was pretty good," you know. It's like, okay, that bike's going, you know. I just never could get the feel of it, you know. It just, because I've been running 4 strokes, you know, and big stuff. So, you know, the big stuff wasn't always that right off the bottom, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm done. Back to 250.
Yeah.
Actually, back to a 350. But
Well, and you, in And you rode the 200 for how long, Mandy, you think?
I mean, it was a while. I mean, I would have
years.
rode it all the way. Well, we had
Well,
the
till you-
Yamahas because I had the Yamahas for a long time too.
Yeah, you went to the 120. Yeah, the Yamaha.
So I had the 125s first. Then I went to, I don't know, probably
But you
four or
went,
five.
well, after that, you went to the Huskies, didn't you?
Yeah, but then I went back. But when I went back to the KTM, I did 4 strokes. So I don't know. It was probably 5-6 years that I was on the KTM 200s.
What's your favorite bike of all time?
Just depends. I mean, depends on what kind of riding you're
I know
doing.
your dad's that Honda Passport. He rides at Vintage Days.
That's the only thing
You know,
to have.
I mean,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you just
that.
that should be on a T-shirt. The Ran Man on that Passport. That's like a synonymous
Oh yeah, that.
because you don't change the bike. It's like some.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the crown jewel.
yeah.
What do you think? Don't have an
I
idea?
mean, no, for an all-around bike, I'd probably do the 250F because, I mean, you can just ride it, lug it. I mean, for me, not being in shape or not riding, that would be what to go in my garage right now, that's what I'd probably pull out to just go trail ride. Just go up to Michigan and have fun on.
Well, you know what I'm going to answer if you ask me what my.
Go ahead. Just lay it to us.
Let's hear yours.
He's got a grin on his
Oh
face.
yeah,
So
the 144 Yamaha. There's not a hill anywhere around that I couldn't get up on that thing. I don't know if I ever told you the story. Passing. What was the guy's? God, I'm drawing a blank. We raced with him all the time. Him and his son up in Michigan.
Deuce and Day
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cody and
Yeah.
and Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Yep.
I
yep.
remember we all went down to Missouri or somewhere off that way to when. What was the race that Bill Gates?
It was an OMA National
OMA,
in
yeah.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I remember that race.
I remember
Yes.
going up a hill. Yeah, I'll never forget this, and I'm not exaggerating this. On my Yamaha, Dwayne's screaming up this hill. I mean, it was a pretty good. It wasn't a hill that was and I'm going up on doing a wheelie, and I looked over at him. I went like this, kept right on going. I'll never forget that. I'll never. And I'm not exaggerating. I did it. I looked over and went like that, and that little Yamaha just go, and it was just chuck. I mean, it was probably in third, fourth gear. I mean,
Right.
it was kind of a long, gradual, faster. And he's just spinning. And I looked over and I thought, oh, wow, that's Dwayne. The perfect. I went like that. It just kept the gas. I'll never, ever forget
See,
that.
I heard the same story, but I thought when you got by him, you pulled the tear off. Or is that not true? Yeah, I thought you pulled the tear off. When
Give my
yeah.
oh, yeah. No, I never. It couldn't have happened to a better person. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
He was
Well,
the
remember we thought they weren't going to come because remember that we were like, it's like we're getting ready geared up and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. And it's like,
And they did-
wow,
yeah.
they must have headed back for
They
home.
must have headed back to Michigan.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. No, they that was a tough race.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
I remember. I do remember
You know,
that race.
actually, I don't even know if I finished that race. It seems like I got.
Showing off too much, it ended
Yeah.
up.
No,
It did.
I
That's
think
what
I ended
happened.
up-
But it made one hell of a picture.
Oh man, I'll never forget that moment. But yeah, I almost think something happened that day. I got drowned out in a creek or something.
Well, there was like a.
Oh god, it was wet as
It
hell
was
that day.
nasty.
But that particular hill, it was just perfect traction. Everything was right, and I'm going up there.
Do you remember the downhill? Like you just locked
that
the
one that
brakes.
you couldn't even-
You couldn't even stop.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
it was
you
just
just
like
started going down that hill, and it
It's
was
ski
like,
down.
Oh, yes.
I remember my butt puckered every single lap because it was like if you got off
And-
course a little bit,
and when
you're
you got
gonna
to the
start
bottom,
ping ponging.
If you hit
I
the
don't think I
hit the
went to
berm
this
like you were
race.
supposed to, or you just shoot on a
Right.
round. But if you didn't, if you got out of control going down there, man, who knows where you were going? But oh yeah, no, I won't forget. Yeah, but
Well, I remember after that race distinctly, all the box fans got pulled out by a big farm tractor.
yeah.
we were all
Oh,
buried
yeah.
in the parking lot.
buried.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I got another prompt.
Well, I gotta wait.
Go ahead.
So today, what would be your bike of a choice?
Oh, the Yamaha. That's the only thing, the 144.
Oh,
well,
my.
well, I might try a 150 KTM because I've not rode one of them.
They seem to be. Well, your dad's riding a 150, right?
No, he's
No.
got a 300.
Oh, 300.
Yeah.
I thought he.
And
I
was
don't
on-
want nothing to do
He
with
rides
the only thing.
fantastic on that bike.
Really?
Yes.
No. Everybody says, like your dad and different guys I talk to, you know, I'm talking when I was after I turned 40, you know, got to,
Right.
everybody's, oh, the 300s. I don't know why. I'd ride them a little bit and didn't like, no. Nothing but a 150.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of guys run those 150s. I think Tracy is, right? Or did he jump up to a different bike?
He's on a 250.
He's on a 250.
Yeah. Dad's had a couple.
What I
150s.
liked about
Yeah.
it was so light. Remember what got me onto it? Was it in Spain when I bought Spurley's bike? We was in Spain
Yeah,
at
I think
6
so.
days. We come home from 6 days, and the riders, you could buy your bike or just let KTM take it back or what. And Brian Spurley, a friend of ours from California, he didn't want his bike. I said, hey, can I buy that? Well, yeah, if you want it, buy it. So I bought it. I hadn't rode a small bike like that in years and years.
Right.
Well, I bought that bike, and of course we got it home. Went to Florida, to the GNCC, the opener in March, and of course, 6 days is in the fall. By the time I got the bike back, and I think you guys had already down to Florida. Remember, I jumped in the van. I drove all night long to get down there. It was one of those deals that the family went down, and I had to work or whatever. I get down, and I can remember riding that bike, and you'd be going down these big, ruts, and all of a sudden you decide you want to throw it over into that rut, throw it there. It was like riding I always said it was like riding a bicycle with a motor on.
With a motor
I mean,
on.
you could just throw it around, and from then on, I thought, man.
Well, I don't think you guys got.
But
rolled.
I didn't like the motor of that particular one because it was kind of pipey that one. And then, of course, I got the 125 Yamaha, and I don't know how I got hooked up to that kit. And I put that kit on there, and the kit didn't make it faster. It just give it that low end
You can lug it, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I could be coming up to a creek or something, and decide I want to jump it, just burp, and just no, that bike. That's
That was because you guys had, when I say you and my dad, I mean you guys had a lot of them bikes.
Oh, yeah,
if I remember right, you just kept
every year I'd buy another one, put a new kit in, and go.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Ride
when
the
did you
snow.
have time to ride, Mandy?
What?
I said, when did you have time to ride? They were out there
Right?
having all a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask Randy this story because I talked to Cody about it earlier. But speaking of like traveling, down the road through the countryside and in the box fans, and very little issues, except Upland, Indiana, 1999. I had gone the night before to the Enduro with my buddy, and we're waking up, and I get a call, and I hear nothing but what sounds like teenagers giggling in the box fan, like laughing hysterically, and it's my dad. I said, "What's going on?" Oh my God! We just went over the edge of the berm of on the expressway.
I know where this one's going. Oh yeah.
And he's like, we didn't roll the box fan. I'm like, you didn't what? You what? You're like, what are you talking about? Well, all of a sudden they pull into the race, and so
sods in the
and there's just the back bumper is just caked full of sod
and the
dirt.
front spoiler. Remember?
Yes.
The front and back, just all the. Of course, we just kept going. We didn't stop. We just kept rolling. We got there. Yeah.
So
go
tell
ahead.
us, go ahead and tell the story.
Oh
So
no,
you
we
set
get
this
there,
whole
we
thing
go
up.
pulling in, and we just pull in and park. There was a clover leaf.
Eat that
at
mic. Eat the microphone.
there's a clover leaf at Fort Wayne, and it was foggy. I think it was foggy that night.
It was like, is this like 24,
24 on the
69 or
469,
469 or
yeah,
something?
and all of a sudden, I remember your dad. I said, "Oh shit! Everybody, hang on!" And this clover leaf got so quick and went flying off the end of this clover leaf. Well, it's all fog. If I remember right, it was fog. It wasn't snowing.
I think it was
just
raining.
fog.
Raining or
Fog.
something, maybe?
And we started. Well, I'm just hanging onto the steering wheel and we're heading down this embankment. Well, you don't know what you're going to hit when you go down something like that. Well, we go down through there. We come plowing up. Pretty soon I hit the highway on the other side. I said, "Holy shit, we made it. Let's keep going." So we kept going. Of course, then we're going west versus east or east versus west. I can't remember. So we had to go and make a U-turn, and we get to the race. We pull in, and of course your dad's telling about this, what happened. I think he's probably thinking, Jesus Christ, I don't think I'm ever going to ride with this crazy bastard again. So we get there. Well, of course, we didn't stop and look anything over, and then everybody's come up there. Everybody's looking around the van for the front and the back, thinking, wow, what the hell's going on? Man, we had sod in the, it was, now you visualize the box fan. You know, the bumpers, 2 foot off. Right. The back bumpers just sods just buried all tucked up in there. The front spoiler's tucked in. And I go, holy shit, I guess. And after that, years later, or maybe that, I don't know when it was, I would look. We come so close to hitting a big-ass culvert that could have ended it.
Right.
I mean, if it would have been this to the left or the right, well, no, not the left, but to the right, there was this big-ass concrete culvert. I mean, it would have ended right there.
It would have stopped you in your tracks.
Oh, and who knows what would have happened to who or what. But it was like, okay, we made it. Let's keep going.
On to the race.
Well, I think the laughter was just the fact that you cheated death. I mean, you really did. I mean, you didn't roll. So Cody shares a story. Like he said, he was laying on the couch in the back, and all of a sudden he heard his dad say, "Hold on, hang on," or whatever.
And I think your dad might have been in the passenger seat, and everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah. I mean, the legendary box fan save.
Oh man!
And that was the Ford van. That wasn't the Freightliner.
No, that was
that was the Ford.
Yeah,
before the Freightliner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
It was a wild ride.
So I got another to piggyback on that. So we're heading. The four of us are headed to Delaware, the Delaware National, years later. Okay, this is probably like 05, 06, somewhere around there. I'm laying on the box in the box fan on the couch sleeping, and I hear Matt, and it's Randy, and immediately thinking of that story, like I jump up, hang on, like are we going off the edge again? I don't know if you remember, there was a big buck standing in the field, and right in the middle of the road, turns the box fan around. He's like, we got to turn around and look at that buck. And there's this giant buck off in the field
because that's when you were starting to do your hunting. And stuff. Yeah.
He's like, so that was, I know, it was just kind of funny, but had to be there type of moment.
Some of the stories over the years.
Did you put seatbelts on the couch after that?
No, they're not required by law. So,
well, I figured you want to be buckled in.
No.
With what's going on.
Yeah, we just kept thinking
what are the odds of it happening again? Take your chances.
Yeah, we'd already had 600,000 miles, and that was the first incident. So why worry about it?
Yeah, that box fan went. We remember there was like 6 of us piled in there to Texas that time. That hot.
Can you remember back in the day? I mean, we would just jump in them trucks and go. I mean, your dad, just say, well, we're going to Texas. Yeah. We're going to Miss. I mean, just like you say, well, I'm going to run up the Speedway. Tell the wife, hey, I'm going to run up the Speedway and get me a coffee. I'll be back. We just jump in them trucks and
go
run all over the country and didn't even think nothing of it.
Well, I can't, and we've all, Mandi and I, Cody and I, we've talked about this over the years. It's just like, I don't even want to ask because it's inappropriate, but like, I can't fathom how much money you and my dad spent doing that. And more so you, because you had 2 kids. My dad only had 1 kid to pay for, and it's like, but you wouldn't trade it for the world.
No. I don't miss a nickel of that. I don't miss that.
No.
I
remember that one year I went to 6 days when me, Mandi, and Cody rode.
Yeah.
I told Kitty, I just rented bikes that year. Well, you can imagine what that cost to rent 3 bikes. Well, then I ended up buying the bikes, told them to ship them home. 3 bikes, the package. People say, oh, man, I bet you really wish now you had all that money back that you pissed away.
No.
It's all experiences.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I've never, ever looked back and never made a nickel. Right. Of all this, never made a nickel on this. Never look back and think, God, I wish I had some of that money back that I pissed away.
Right.
I mean, now.
You can make money in the motorcycle world? I missed that chapter. But I was going to say, in sort of a little bit on my side, too, and it is very fortunate for you and your families to have family businesses.
Yes.
Which allowed you to be able to do that versus working someplace at 9 to 5 and not having that. The same way, and for me, our company allowed us to travel, not only to travel to do work, but we also hauled motorcycles around the country, was able to ride all around the United States. So it's very, think about it, as fortunate as we've been to be able to do that too. And you feel bad for some people that, you can only have so many vacation days,
exactly.
And to be able to think of all the different things, everything from broken, I don't know, was it some torn ligaments and having surgery in Idaho to riding all over the world, or the country, not the world, but really
Wouldn't trade it for nothing.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's just, we just think about it. Just, I get every once in a while, I get reminders on the phone of some of our trips, or pictures where we've gone to.
Right.
Like, oh, man, remember when we were up in, Colorado? Remember when we were in Arizona or California or whatever, Idaho, and it's just really great. And I say, very privileged to be able to have a company and a business that we were able to do that too.
Yeah.
It just, most people could never do,
Well, something I look back on different. Remember when me and you were in Alabama? I think you were with Cody and Liz.
Oh,
and I now this is not a good story. This is a bad story, but we're down. Our families, because he was running the enduros and we was running the nationals at that particular time. Me and Mandi was down in. I think your dad was with us.
yeah, he was.
Paul was
yeah.
The
with
three of us, we went to Alabama to the last national enduro, I think, of the year.
Yeah.
Because we was chasing the national series. And then Matt and Cody, I think, were chasing the district series or whatever.
Yep.
Well, that's when Cody had his bad accident.
Yep.
And, of course, I'm in Alabama. He's up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we get the call. Of course, my wife's at home. It just, you look back at some of that, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's a memory that you think, wow, that could have just went totally sideways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just, like the time you guys, were you with her down in South Carolina when she,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
when she
Sumter.
ripped that,
Sumter.
had
In
that,
my leg.
her leg, and they said that, few
Had to cut
millimeters
it,
more?
yeah. It would have hit the artery.
There's some water for you. Some water.
Oh, no. But,
Yeah. There's certain.
It's not always.
It's not always pretty. Yeah, there's not always. Well, look at Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. But at the end of the day, we all know the risks,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't. There is a definite cause or a definite answer. You're definitely going to crash, right? Everybody that throws a leg over a bike's going
What
to
do they
crash.
say? You're not going fast enough if you crash.
Yeah.
If you don't crash.
Yeah, and that's why I don't try to crash anymore. It's like that stuff.
That's why first gear is great for me.
Well, it's going to happen, and sometimes it's catastrophic, and sometimes it's not so bad.
Were you in Colorado that time that I wanted to take that last loop, and it ended up? I don't know if you were out there. I remember your dad out there.
No, I wasn't on that
Okay.
trip.
Oh, well, we was out in Colorado. Are you familiar with Taylor Reservoir?
I've heard you guys talking about it, but I never was.
It was a
there.
place. It was kind of a place you'd go. Then you'd kind of, I don't know, camp there. And they had some cabins, and they had places that we could put our race trucks, whatever. Well, anyways, everybody got done at the end of the day, and I said, "Oh, I want to take another loop." And so I decided to take another loop. Well, out west there, all of a sudden it's like I'm going, and I'm thinking, I'm okay. Well, next thing you know, it's getting almost dark.
Yeah.
And finally, make the long story short, it started getting dark. Well, then, obviously, you can't just buzz along. You got to kind of start creeping along because you can't see the damn trail. And I remember your dad. I'm pretty sure your dad was on that trip. And I don't know who, probably Cody. I don't know who else was with us other. But it's one of those experiences. Like, finally, I got back. Everybody's like, well, geez, didn't know.
Right.
You don't know, did he fall off of a cliff or what?
Right.
Of course, I'm just putzing along trying to work my way down a trail because it's dark.
Right.
But, tell a story about your mom.
Yeah, out there when coming off Cody, we were out there with her, and I think you've heard the story, haven't you? We were out there. We went to Taylor, me, my brother, my mom, and
God,
Cody and I went out riding that day.
What
and-
year is this approximately?
Jeez.
Don't you love this? It's like the trips down
You don't
memory
have
lane.
that in your research?
Oh man.
I remember them
Can I
calling
call a
me.
friend?
Yeah.
Can I use
No, just-
Lifeline?
Yes.
No, Mandy, we just use Google.
Oh, Google.
Yes.
Sorry. Well,
Wikipedia.
Wait.
As AJ says,
Google.
Wikipedia.
This
It's not
was
recorded.
like MySpace stuff.
It was you, Cody, your ma, and Arvella, wasn't it? Was
No, I
Arvella-
don't think Arvella went on
Oh,
this
she went
trip.
on that
No,
trip?
I don't
Oh,
think so.
The three of you?
I think it was just us three because that's when Mom went and rode. She went to town and she got on her little passport.
We had one. Well, it wasn't a passport. It was a
Yeah.
TW 200 Yamaha.
And she went over to, I don't know, the town over the hill, but then
Well, you know
she
how it is
went to
out
come
there.
to the next. She,
Yeah.
I think, went over the wrong pass because she didn't come back our pass. And then it was dark by the time we were getting ready to call search and rescue for her.
boy.
And
Oh boy.
I was
They called me
mad
that
at her.
night.
Man.
Because I was going to fly in the next day or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
And they called and said, well, Ma's did not come back.
Like, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here she comes around the mountain. That little
Literally.
dumb and dumber.
Literally.
like,
20 mile an hour.
And what was really bad with that whole thing, because I remember this story as years went by, instead of her showing up, now this is their mother, finally shows up. Prior to that, they call me because I'm going to be going there the next day, but it's like, why can't you change my flight now or whatever? So anyways, they're just all nervous and concerned and like, what happened to Ma and this and that? Well, then the next day, by the time I get there, though, she shows up in the meantime. Well, they are just totally PO'd. Instead of saying, oh, my, they're just chewing
Happy
her
to
up
see
one
you.
side down the other. And when I got there the next day, I remember hearing that
She
story.
was
like,
ready to go home.
she goes, geez, they treated me, like crap, prior to, till
was all good until
they
then.
find out she made it back on her,
Right, right.
But she come wet, cold.
Oh.
Because she started to go around one of those goofy deals, and she's soaking wet. Instead of getting some big hugs, they look at her. Oh, well, you're home. You're back. You're safe. You're on your own now. Oh, I'll never forget her telling that story.
Because wasn't that the last time she ever? Wasn't the last time she ever rode or something, or what? Wasn't
Yeah, I
I
that?
don't
that
think
was-
she ever rode after
I
it.
don't think
No.
we let her.
You ended her career.
Yeah.
What kids are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just think what she could have been.
Yeah. She was on
right
her
there
way.
in the GNCC.
She was on her
Was
way.
that before she crashed, Jessica? That would have been after. So
I don't know.
There was good reasons why we took
Eat the
the
mic.
keys away. Oh, there's
Sorry.
a good reason that we took the keys away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She
crashed
with
my cousin on a bike too.
Yeah,
That was
it-
insane.
Well, it
so-
wasn't your favorite cousin, was it? I mean,
No.
it was still your
she's
mom.
watching this. You better-
I don't know.
We'll just edit that
Yeah,
part
we'll
out.
take that out.
Yeah, Lori, she's called the sheriff.
But
and the sheriff
I'll never
looked for us
forget that.
before out
It
in
went from
Arizona,
all
so.
concern and, oh my goodness, we don't know if she's over a cliff, till like, oh, you're okay. Then just threw her,
Madder than
threw
heck.
her over the butt.
Madder than
Yeah.
heck.
Oh, yeah. I'll
Oh
never
my
forget
God.
that when I got there. It's like, whoa, this sure changed from when they talked to me on the phone the night before.
Randy's flying out thinking, oh man, miss my family. It's going to be a great family trip. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah. Mom ruined it. She just didn't get back till 9 o'clock at night. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll never forget
Yeah,
that.
we
story.
went
Oh.
out riding. A buddy and I was riding. He had a TT 600, big old heavy bike, and we got up some gully in Arizona and bike quit. And we pushed and we tugged and we pushed and we tugged, and finally he said, "That's not going to happen. We're going to leave it here and have to come get it the next day." So I'm riding an old '79 WR 250. So we rode double out.
Oh, jeez.
Get out to the pavement. We hadn't gone a quarter mile. Sheriff comes pulling up, rolls down the window, says, "Your wife's looking for you." I mean, how many people out there dirt bike riding, right?
right.
And he pulls up, just, "Your wife's looking down. She's looking for you, and she's down at the parking area."
Oh my God.
It's like, okay, It's like I pulled in, my wife's sitting there. Okay, you were supposed to be back at noon, and it's 6.
Oh my God.
Oh, some of those trips out west can turn that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't take long. I mean, and when it's dark out there, it's dark
Oh, when
out
it gets-
there. I mean,
it's like when I was
it's
in that
perfect
mountain-
to go visit. I mean, it's beautiful to see all the stars and all that kind of stuff, but it's dark.
Don't think
You
about
know,
riding a bike.
And your headlights like this,
Oh,
I mean,
you know
it's,
what? My light. I don't even know if I had a light, but I think I might have had a light. But you know how
Riding by the
when you
moonlight.
rev it up, then you let off, then
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
dim, then you rev it up, and it's like, wow. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
remember trying to get out of that mountain that night.
It could have
I
been.
wasn't really scared, but it's like, oh, this is gonna be a long time getting out of here.
Yeah.
Luckily, I ended up getting out that night.
Well, then your adrenaline starts kind of going, and no, that can turn into disaster quick. Thankfully, it didn't.
we got stuck in some snow. Came over Lewis Pass, then coming down into Telluride on the Big Bear, and fortunately for me, it was dark because I'd still be there to this day if it would have been light out. I don't know if you know what Big Bear looks like going out of Telluride. It's darker than dark, same thing. I had an old XR, so like you said, you had to keep her pinned pretty good to get that light just to see. And, it took us, it took us an hour and a half to come down off the mountain, and the next day we get up and he goes, oh man, we couldn't see that nice waterfalls, right there. And like, oh, that's cool. He goes, yeah, let's ride back up to,
after you see the next day in the daylight.
And then it's like, what is it? 230 feet waterfall or whatever. I go, yeah, that's pretty cool. He goes, yeah, see that road over there? I go, uh-huh. He goes, that's what we came down last night. Like, you got to be kidding me. And it's like, fortunately, you could see if anybody was coming at you, but nobody was stupid enough to be riding up there dark, and we came down off that thing, and I'm thinking, I can't believe it. And I just watched a podcast the other day, and they were coming down out of there in the daylight, and they were talking about hugging the bank. And
hugging the bank.
Fortunately, it's one way, so you don't get anybody coming at you, but that was
even
that was
on
the only
a bike.
day.
I've come down through there on a bike like you're talking, hugging that bank.
Yeah.
It's because there's certain points when it makes those drops that you put the brakes on and you just kind of slide down to the next, what do you call it, pier or whatever. Yeah. And then you think, God, what if something went wrong? And
I'd never come down there in a Jeep.
God.
The podcast that I was watching, they were coming down in a Jeep.
I wouldn't even think about it.
And I'm thinking, I would have died.
Yeah.
Just buried.
How do their brakes hold up? I mean,
that's put it in low gear and just
let the tranny do its thing.
It's, and then, you go down there and then, they got the rock outcrops come over and I'm over on, I'm rubbing, the bank's rubbing me on the shoulder because I hate heights. Yeah. And you go down that thing and every once in a while there'll be a jut up there and I go, you mean I got to go this way a little bit?
Yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh.
I remember the first time I took your dad.
Yeah.
He wasn't impressed with that at all.
No.
We weren't on Big Bear. We was in
Imogene, or no?
Yeah, probably Imogene.
Imogene
We was in Uray,
yep.
And we went across.
Imogene.
And you know where you go up there, and then you get at a certain point, and you look down on those mines down below.
Yep.
I stopped, and I'd walk out to the edge, and I mean, like here it is, and there it is. Yeah, and your dad would be like back there. He was like, "Hey man, I don't want nothing to do with it." He didn't. Your dad didn't care for that at all.
Its heights are different.
Oh yeah,
it that jacks you up.
Oh, it does.
It definitely does.
It's funny because we rode from Lake Pleasant to Crown King on the backside, 26 miles, and man, going up, man, we would just rail it going up. I just wouldn't pay attention about where it dropped off on the side. Just coming back down. Now I'm going downhill,
and you're looking.
And then I'm also supposed to be. I'm supposed to be. You go 3 feet out and 300 feet down. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So I'm over there riding like this, one eye shut and looking over here, and like
because just so the audience knows, it's instant death. Right.
Oh, if you go off one of them, you're not going to
you'd be dead by the first rock you hit because the next rock.
What is it? 2, 3, 4? I don't know how many feet. Some of them places that we start. If you'd happen to hit a rock and go bouncing and flip up, no, there ain't no way you'd ever survive.
Well, that was Andrew. I love trail riding. It is the best thing for me. I just love you get to go somewhere, you get to see the sights, you get to do all the stuff. I like racing, don't get me wrong. But, when you get out there, you can just ride 100 miles in a day and just never see the same thing twice. Yeah. And so we're going along the face of a bank, it's going down in the, creek down the bottom, but it's got a, I don't know, foot wide, single track, and we're buzzing along through there, and I think AJ was with us too, and we're buzzing along there, and so my son, he's thinking he's doing pretty good, he's zipping out through there. Well, when you got a trail this wide and you got a track, rock in the middle this big, it's gonna be. He hit that thing and he went off the side.
Oh no!
And I'm like, oh dear, and I come around through the bike down, but fortunately, whatever the thickets were on the side of that bank,
caught him.
Oh yeah. That bike didn't go. The bike didn't go what 2 feet. It was stuck.
But then,
and he was like another foot stuck, and we had to cut the bike out. It just, he was stuck in there. Couldn't get his boots out. Luckily because it wasn't super steep, but it was enough that you would have tumbled away.
Yeah.
But that thing just
and then you can't get out of it.
Oh my! We had to cut the bike out.
Yeah.
But it is just.
You rode Idaho, didn't you?
Yeah, 3 times.
Remember all those switchbacks?
Oh.
You get up there in them switchbacks, and which they're just switchback, which a lot of them switchback. So if you would have went off the side, it wouldn't be a death.
Right.
No.
But it was idea.
I did twice.
Crick. There's a lot of
But you
crick stuff.
couldn't. But you couldn't
Get back up.
Oh
No.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
just
I went
You
off
just
the
keep
edge.
going down until you
Oh,
find a place to get out.
finding-
At the
Yeah.
qualifier, we were on them like the 2-track roads along
Yeah.
the edge of the mountain,
Yeah.
and I went off the edge. It was dusty, missed a turn. The bike only dropped probably as long as his table down the hill, but it took 4 or 5 guys to
Oh,
get
yeah.
the bike
To
back
get
up the
back
hill.
up. Oh yeah.
And I wasn't hurt. It was
Yeah.
just like it was terrifying to
Yeah.
watch.
Well, that's like
air
Colorado.
underneath myself.
Coming out
for
of
a few feet.
If you come out of Colorado, we took some single track back up above tree level, back into Lewis Lakes, and then back on the Big Bear and join the Big Bear there. Same thing. I mean, if you get a switchback and you fall over, you just slide down to the next section of
Oh, yeah,
trail,
you
you
just
know,
go into the-
and then
yeah,
pick
oh,
it back up and turn it
oh,
back
yeah,
around. and
That's
stuff.
all you can do.
Yeah,
Remember the
it's-
time we was out there with the Jeep? I had it on 2 wheels.
I remember.
Please share that story
Yeah.
because that sounds interesting. I remember hearing the Ford
Kill
Ranger
us.
story.
Oh,
Was it the
me and
rental
Chloe?
truck? The
Yeah,
rental
me
truck
and-
story?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, prior to that, we had a Jeep, and we was up in the mountains, and somewhere it was in that Telluride area. I don't
This is
know.
a family
I think we'd
trip?
already
This was a family
was on our
trip.
way from Telluride back to Ouray. That pass. What one is that? Is that Imogene going that way?
Imogene's the one that comes out of in the middle of town and it goes up the side up that way.
We was on our way back, and all of a sudden I got this Jeep. How old were you guys?
I was probably 8,
Cody was
9,
probably
6, 7.
Yeah. And all of a sudden we get in this position with the Jeep. And
You're not dirt- you're not dirt biking. This is just a-
over the ledge.
one of the wheels, is over the
One
edge
wheel
of the
is
bank.
Completely.
And then the other one, it's kind of rocking. So I'm sitting there and I said, well, let me get out and examine what's going on here. So as soon as I start to get out, the Jeep starts doing
Your
this.
dad was getting out the parachute.
he
And then all of a sudden, I
he
said,
goes
well, hey,
back in. He's like, I
said,
gotta
wait,
stay.
why don't you guys get out? You get out, and then let me get this figured. As soon as they start to get out, the Jeep starts going like this. I said, no, why don't you
Everybody-
guys just stay here?
Isn't that in a movie somewhere?
Everybody-
to the back.
I said, maybe we better think
It's like a
this out."
cartoon.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I said, don't get out of the Jeep. Well, about then, one of them turd Jeeps come along.
That
He
guy
comes pulling up.
laughing.
He pulls up, he stops right by me, he's laughing like hell. I think, well, I don't see nothing funny about this. He said, oh, you're okay. He says, just put it in gear, let the clutch out, you're fine. I thought, yeah, it sounds good to you. Well, finally, he got me convinced to do it. And it was kind of in one of those positions that you just get yourself in, and it worked out. But I'll never forget telling, because Shirley was in the passenger seat, and the kids were in the back, and I was going to tell them to get out. In case something did go wrong, we
Right.
didn't all have to die today.
Right.
And they start to climb out, and the Jeep starts going like this. And I was like, let's just wait a minute. Let's think this out a little more. Oh, some of the experiences, but it all come back to dirt biking.
Well,
Sure does.
I know, it's been about a year since Shirley's passed, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And, she is a saint for the stuff. I mean,
To put up with him?
we have to talk about this story because I've always thought it was just there's no way my wife would have tolerated at all. But talk about your honeymoon for just a second.
Oh, yeah.
What race was he at?
Jack Pine. Yeah, I told her on our honeymoon, I said that we was going to go to Wisconsin Dells for our honeymoon.
Good move.
Yeah.
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 So, oh, okay. Well,
Everybody
that'll-
goes there for the wedding.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good. So we go to Wisconsin
Lakes.
Dells. Of course, I'm in a big hurry to get to Wisconsin Dells and get the hell out of there. We get on the ferry in Ludington, or we was going to come back to Ludington in Michigan, but wherever it was in Wisconsin, we get on. And I'm thinking, man, we got this all timed right. Well, the whole plan was we get back. I said, oh, we might as well just stop to Jack Pine. Jack Pine's going on. Well, of course, my second had my bike there. And, oh, yeah, she just went right along with it and just said, she knew once I told her it was going on, she said, oh,
There was no
man.
getting out of it.
Oh, yeah.
To
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah.
She figured
But
it
the
out.
best story, and I couldn't find a picture when she passed, a year ago. I kept trying to find this picture. I remember one year at 6 Days, her and Peggy Wolf.
Yeah.
It was a friend of ours from Colorado. Well, we kind of met him through 6 days. But Peggy and my wife had to be in a checkout, and I remember this. I still remember this. I could just see this. They were on this dusty road because I was riding.
Right.
And it was a trailer. It was just nothing. You come flying in. It was just solid. Well, when they come back that night, both of them, they had sunglasses on. They took their sunglasses. All you could see was they were just solid dust. I can't even explain what it looked like.
Oh, 04?
Huh?
Did you ride?
I did. I rode Poland. That was 04.
That was
It was real
dusty,
dusty.
right? That was the really dusty one.
Yeah, remember how
Didn't they
coming
come
in,
in?
how it was all chopped up? It was so dry.
The first.
They were on one of them roads out in the country, and that night she come in, and I thought, wow, how many wives would come back in at the end of the night and then look in the mirror at themselves and think, I put up with this shit.
Not mine. Not mine.
And she didn't say a thing. She just, and I swore I had a picture, but of course.
Yeah.
We were trying to find them pictures we was talking about. I could not find a picture, but it was like a raccoon.
Right.
All you see was these little. I bought it just solid. I mean, the dust was caked on, but
Oh yeah, she definitely earned her sainthood for sure.
God.
Yeah, there's
Well,
no question.
you know, when you get the bug, you know, it just my wife did ride. She doesn't ride as much anymore, you know, but that's always been the fun part. You know, is our kids and our some adopted kids and you know son-in-laws. Yeah. No, we've always been able to, you know, ride. You know, so you know, in later years now we go ride and she goes shopping and then she gets a call, says, "Hey, come back. We're headed to the hospital." And so she, you know, just used to that. But it is such a great family life. I mean, you know, as far as being able to do things and see things, you know, growing up, my wife, we had a '64 Beetle that we made a Baja out, you know, so us guys would ride the dirt bikes, and my wife and the two girls would be in
along in the
and they would be behind us, bringing the lunch, you know,
Yeah.
and we'd get to the top of the mountain or whatever, and we'd have lunch and stuff, and you know, same way we'd go back down the mountain with the bikes, and she'd go back down with the bug, and then eventually got a Jeep, you know, and did the same thing, you know, and it just we've always, you know, done that. Was you know, we were just married when we had we were married and had 2 kids at that time, which is, we had them fairly early, but, you know, you put $5 in the thing. Yeah, we took all the glass out, took the back seat out, put a couple eyelets in there, put the 2 car seats in the back, you know, and 10 minutes down the road, they're sound asleep and we're bouncing down the road. But, you know, being young and not have you know, at that point in time, I didn't have bikes, you know, so, but you just go out and zip around the desert and, you know, and
okay, well, look at the times that your mom would, you know, I would have to work, you know, being a small business, you know.
Right.
All of a sudden something was going on. So I'd say, hey, you're going to have to take these kids. Remember that place in Colorado? Which it was kind of an off the beaten path place. I remember. Anyways, I said, hey, you got to take these kids to the race. I says, you got to leave on Monday or Tuesday, whatever. I says, on Friday, I'll catch a flight and, you know, and show up. I can't remember where it was. It was kind of a national, but no, I mean, it wouldn't matter. I could have just said, hey, next week you got to go to California, you know. You know, she just said, well, I guess if that's what we got to do, off she'd go.
Well, she was super supportive. I mean, she would, you know, and I know she went with you to every 6 days, right, Mandi? Ever since, or was there a few that she didn't go to? Maybe towards the end there?
Her last one she did go to was Italy.
Okay.
Right?
But I don't think I ever went to any that she didn't go to. I think.
No. Because she went to, you weren't going to go to New Zealand, but she did. So I'm trying to think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she stayed with you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, and came over there.
Yeah, you guys all went
and
to New Zealand.
we stayed there a week later.
But yeah, oh yeah, she was pretty. She was
went
pretty
to
much
every
involved.
one.
How many? Just so we get it on record, how many? According to your notes, how many 6 days have you done?
Mandi Mastin, the racer.
Yeah, third person.
I looked her up today.
Yeah.
It looks like she raced. Hold on, let me count them here.
Talking to the mic.
15.
15.
Now-
15.
were you one of her biggest fans or
Some days.
Some days.
It just depends on the day of the week.
how she was doing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So you support her most of the time?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Well,
not all the time.
you did 15, and I would say I was, you know, honored to be with you on 2 of those, and they were a lot of fun. They're great trips. What was your favorite one?
I knew you were going to say that. Everyone's different. I mean, people do ask me all the time. I can't pinpoint. They're all different and good and fun and in different ways. Like, I mean, New Zealand. I mean, that was probably the toughest one I rode, but yet at the same time, it was fun and the whole around experience was amazing. Like, I want to go back to New Zealand because I love New Zealand. So, I mean, that one's more because of maybe the experience. I liked it. Where Brazil, I mean, it was hot, but then people down there, you were down there.
I didn't go to that one.
Was
My
it?
my dad was
down there.
Yep.
Yeah, your dad. But I mean, that one, I mean,
We broke your leg there, didn't
yeah,
you?
I did.
Yeah.
And that was one of them that I DNF'd. But I mean, the people there, I mean, that one was more of an experience. Like, that one was a visual learner. Like, I was very grateful. Like, I went there, I realized how grateful. Yes, that one was culturally like an eye opener. Like, hey, people don't understand until they actually go somewhere like Brazil or just out of this country.
Remember that little stand that guy would sell that fruit and
sit there for
vegetables up on
$5 a day.
He'd sit there all day. We'd leave, me and your dad would leave in the morning to go do a gas check. And he had a little cart with bicycle tires on it, probably 3 foot by 4, full of vegetables. I don't know what's in it, produce.
Right.
He'd be there when we'd leave in the morning up on the highway. We'd come back at night. 10 hours later, he'd still be there with just a little bit left, trying to get that last little bit. And I thought, we probably made $4, $5.
Yeah.
and
It's sad.
Probably just as happy though.
I was gonna say you said sad,
but
I was thinking to myself, it's not sad because those people
they're not used to work.
They are, and they got a sense of accomplishment. I mean, they, Mexico. I've been very fortunate to go to Baja, and the people there seems to be a little bit different than the mainland Mexico. But they don't have anything, but they don't know anything different.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true. That's true.
They're just great people because they're excited to see you, truly excited to see you, not just waiting for you to hand them some cash, but they want to know about where you're from and what you're doing and how come you're there. And it's just, and like I say, people from all around the world, these other places, we look at that, we have no idea.
No, we don't.
We are most of us would probably die if we had to spend a week there.
They would. I mean, and like even Brazil.
We have it so good.
I mean, even in Brazil, when we were down there, we were spoiled because we were in a resort. But I mean, we at least got to drive around and see all the stuff. I mean, I went to the bathroom at one of the pit stops in one of this lady's house.
Dirt floor, didn't you tell me that?
Dirt floor. You walk in,
their house,
dirt
the
floor.
floor.
I mean, there was just
there
drapes.
wasn't even really windows.
No, there was just drapes on the windows, and this was back in. But still, I mean, you had to pour the bucket into the toilet to get to push it down, and I'm just like, you walk out of there and you're like,
wow,
hey, crap. I mean, I might as well just squatted in the woods.
It's normal,
which I did, but like people don't.
But you take it for granted.
You do. You take it for granted.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with racing, I feel. I mean, I love racing. I love the people, but the things, the experiences, the places I've seen culturally, and it just makes me grateful and humble, and just, that's the things that I take back from like all them years. And like you said, the money. I mean, I've spent a lot of money. He spent a lot of money, but what are you going to do with that money? And then,
you can't take it with you.
Give it to my wife.
I mean, but you've never.
AJ's like,
everything that we just talked about.
I'm in line here, pal.
It's really funny because, and then that dirt floor probably was the cleanest dirt floor you ever saw.
Yeah, I mean
they're sweeping it.
They're sweeping it. Yeah.
And the other thing I was amazed. Now, this was in mainland Mexico. We were down there. We were driving around and got to see some different stuff. And same thing, you see people sweeping, the dirt floors, out. And like you said, no windows, just drapes or whatever, even over the door. But it was so interesting because out front, you have two little kids waiting for the bus to come by to go to school. Mm-hmm. But white shirt and pair of shorts or plaid
like uniform
skirt or whatever. But the whitest white and the cleanest stuff you have.
And you want to.
And here I go to Walmart and you go like, oh, is that a diaper they got on? And it's like, but these people have nothing. They're probably out to the creek washing this stuff. But I mean, this white shirt is white.
Yeah,
they take pride in it,
and it is. It is. It's like wow. It is amazing. I said sometimes, you're like, man, it'd be great to just move down there and sort of get back to being a person again.
Simplistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is. And it was, so, what was the most friendliest people? What
Yeah, great question.
where were you to find the most friendliest people? I mean,
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I love them people.
In
down there.
did you go to Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't.
No, I went, but I was only there for about a week, wasn't I? I ended up coming. I didn't ride or
Yeah.
nothing.
Right.
Oh, you just came for the week of the race.
I didn't. Yeah, when I got there, it was just, well, then I didn't even get to stay for a whole race, did I? Didn't I get there?
No, because
I
man,
think I only,
yeah.
for whatever goofy reason, I don't know what
Somebody
was going
called,
on with
hey,
work.
I need you back here.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
plugged.
But yeah, you didn't even get there before we impounded, because remember that was the year that I left I had to take all my graphics from my bike on the plane with me, and
Put
I
'em on.
left them on the
Somehow.
plane, and I landed in New Zealand, and like we were in the rental car driving, all of a sudden I'm like, where's my graphics?
Did I ended up?
No, I had to have them
Somewhere there's a
Oh,
there's
wow.
a United
But I only
Airline
seen-
flight with Amanda
Yeah.
Master graphics on
4
the
of the
side.
days.
No,
wasn't
the
it?
airplane.
Yeah, real short.
Shroud graphics.
Mandy in the front with her number flying through the air.
Because I remember, it was like on day 4. Could you imagine going to a race like that, like in the second moto, saying, "Okay, I gotta go," but in day 4, okay, I gotta go. I didn't even get to. I don't know how.
I don't
that got,
know. I don't, because
what
it was
went
such
on
a
and
long
why,
trip
but
over
I
there. I don't know why you
went to all that trouble, and I was only there like 4 or 5 days. And I didn't
Truck
stay-
sprung a lake.
Yep, didn't even get to spend the whole time.
How long of a flight is that?
Oh God, it was like 20 some
18.
hours.
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, my
18,
gosh.
20 hours.
2
Yeah.
days worth of flying.
Oh yeah, man, it was like forever.
So New Zealand's the best.
Yep.
You'd go there, move there, you'd live
Yep.
there.
You want the
I
worst?
don't want to
Yeah.
say. I don't want to say
Greece.
Greece.
Oh, that's
My dad
just 'cause
said
the
that, too.
swimming pool.
Is
I can't. I hate. There was nothing about that.
Dad
trip
said
that
the people were extremely
you
rude.
Guys,
No.
you guys stayed down at the
Yeah,
nice
we
part,
stayed
too.
in a nice part.
You
Me
guys
and your
were
dad
down in the
stayed
city.
down in town in a real nice place. They stayed out in the ghetto. A pool that had no water in it. Oh, I remember going there.
skateboarding?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a skate park.
skateboarding.
I mean, I just remember going there, and I seen a picture of that pool on that hotel website, and I got there, and there had not been water in that pool for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Since they took the picture.
It was 100 degrees. It was hot. It was a desert. It was just, there was nothing fun
All you
about
wanted to
the
do is swim
race.
in the pool.
And I wanted to come back and swim in the
Yeah.
pool. The water at the hotel didn't work. Like the showers only worked half of the time.
Right.
We had cold water for most of the time. The toilets
The food wasn't good either.
Well, when
That's why you're-
when it's hot, cold water's good, right?
That was the Bruce cold potatoes. That's where cold potatoes came from.
Okay.
Have you never heard?
No, I
your
never heard that
dad-
story.
You've never heard your dad yell like cold potatoes or Dave?
yeah, but me and Paul always sat downtown, and we always had good food.
Yeah, but he knows about
Yeah,
Bruce. And
yeah.
the cold potatoes.
So
because
Bruce,
it was that's all we ate every day. Cold potatoes.
It was the same thing every day. They
Every
kept,
day,
yeah,
cold
kept-
potatoes they would bring us.
So the food was terrible.
Yeah, and
Worse
then-
than Poland? Poland was pretty bad.
Poland's got some good. Poland's
Well, the
people got some
hotel-
good,
was
good food.
bad.
Oh, I lost like 10 pounds in 2 weeks there.
I think I gained because I think I ate McDonald's 3 times.
Well, I remember every day we would swing by on
Remember
the way
in
back and get
France?
McDonald's.
When the first time, yeah, you raced France.
Oh, that's the one that
We're-
I gained the weight because we would that was
We'd
all
pull out of
seafood.
Parc Fermé. There was a McDonald's out in front. We'd pull into the McDonald's. We'd order, all of us, me, my wife, Cody, Mandy. We'd order all these Happy Meals or whatever meals.
No,
and then
Big
get
Macs.
Big Macs, whatever. And then get a cold beer at the drive-thru. You get a cold beer.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'd drink a cold
We're
beer.
missing that here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They'd have more business if they would do that.
Yep.
And then we would go out to our chalet. Is that what they
Yep,
called them?
we had the chalets that year.
We on the cut. Well, the problem was you go to the chalet. You know how they always feed you?
Yeah.
They bring you one little plate of food, and that's all you got.
And she
And she was
Ryan
like a-
Garahan would try. He tried moving. He was at the stable and he tried circling
Scooting
around.
over.
She's like, I already served you.
Yeah. So we figured out right
hungry.
away, if we wanted to not be starved,
yeah.
we'd stop at McDonald's, eat, and of course it'd take an hour to get from there back to, and then we'd eat the half-ass meal they'd give us.
But it was fish. So Cody and I never ate it. So we'd always leave to go back up there.
yeah, and then
Back
yeah.
up to.
So
That
just
was the fun. That has to be one of the funnest years.
Is that when were all the castles and stuff? were?
Yes,
Yeah.
and me and
France.
Cody had
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
That was
year.
02,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
01.
France. That
Okay,
would've been my first
Spain
one.
was
And Cody
2000.
didn't
Spain
ride.
was 2000 and 2001
Yeah.
would have been France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody didn't ride.
02
you
was
rode.
Czech.
And
02
that
was
was when he would like race with Garahan and Shane Watts in the cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were just
They
tearing
were, like,
the
rallying
tearing the
back
rental
and
cars
forth
all to
on
hell.
The chalets and back.
Well, yeah, we ended up ripping oil pan off one of the cars. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Typical rental.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a rental.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We
Oh, do you
started
remember
down
in
going-
Finland?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We was
Oh, that
racing on
yeah,
that
you guys.
That was
road race course.
one of the greatest trips of my life by far. Watching the Suzuki guys, Hawkins and Hatch, and
Oh yeah.
them just ripping around and
On that-
beating the snot out
Oh,
of the
yeah.
cars too. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, those were a lot of fun. So how many did you ride, Randy? 6 days.
7 or 8. I don't even know. 7 or 8. Yeah.
I think.
Was it 8? 7 or 8.
And Finland was the first one you finished.
Yes, because I
Yes.
rode one in 81 in Czechoslovakia, and I didn't finish that one. Then I rode Tulsa,
Yep.
didn't finish. Then
94.
94, and then I was determined. I came in. I want to. And then 96 was actually that was the best 6 days I had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I rode
It was the
97.
first year on the senior team.
Yep. Had a
Just
real
turned.
good year there. Everything went good, And then that was 96. Then 97 was Italy. Was a disaster. Did you go to Italy?
I did. Yeah, I was there.
That's when I crashed. Remember coming off?
Oh
of
my gosh. I'm so glad you told this story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you didn't want to tell it? You want me to tell it?
no,
Come on.
go ahead. Because there's the racer version and then the spectator version. Go ahead.
6 days, you push your bike up on this. I don't know what you call it.
Go into the mic if you can a little bit
Oh,
more.
yeah. You pull up on this, I don't know what you call it, a
Ramp.
ramp, and then they count down your seconds. And then this guy kept saying, go slow, go slow. Well, he was talking in Italy, slow, slow, slow. And I thought, oh, come on, man, I'm a racer. This old guy, he looked like 80 years old. And I thought, well, I started off the down part of the ramp.
It's all
was
wooden.
plywood. It was wet.
Oh.
I don't think I give it gas, but I must have. All of a sudden, I give it some. It's in the ramp from the flat part down was probably 12 foot,
Probably.
but
Yeah.
just enough to really get out of control. All of a sudden, I started down that ramp, and it went sideways. And then when you got to the bottom, it was blacktop. It threw me on the ground so goddamn hard and fast that I got
You and
up.
Cody just turned around like
Yeah, I was like, everybody that I knew turned around, walked away like,
they were
wow.
like, take this.
God, we don't know
jacket
this
off.
guy.
Well, there was only, probably 500 people standing there in the first turn. This is the first turn. You probably have the record for the guy that crashed in the shortest distance.
Distance from the start.
line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 foot from the
Because
start
from
line.
my perspective, we're staying in the first
Oh,
turn.
gosh, maybe I do have a record from 6 days that I don't
Well,
even know about.
You got the Family RS.
Yeah.
And then you got the
But I had
greatest,
that one
the
prior.
quickest crash record ever.
Quickest
in,
yes.
in the 95 years or
Oh,
whatever.
well,
they're
now
doing
you
the 6
finally
days.
made it turn out to be a good thing.
He found out why that guy's 80 years old, how he got to be 80 years old.
Right.
He went slow.
I
just remember
my
looking up.
elbow. I hit the ground, and my elbow just slammed into the. And you talk about starting a race. It didn't go.
Took the wind right out of you.
And then we left town. We no more got out of town. We had to go down a hill, which I don't know if I've ever told this. Some goofy. Anyways, end over asshole down this hill trying to get stopped. It was one of these stupid things. Well, of course, I was all ginked up already from my elbow. And then it took me about 4 days later. About the fourth day, then finally, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wow, I'm loosened up and could ride. But prior to that was the worst 6 days I ever rode.
Well, you still finished.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
finished.
you finished,
But
it was tough. So my perspective is Dad and I and Cody are staying in the first turn. Like I said, everybody in the town is at this thing.
the watch this. Oh, yeah, the watch this.
Imagine like a Perrysburg.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 days starts in Perrysburg. You have city streets blocked off. And like I said, all of a sudden it's go time, Randy, burp. And the bike totally kicks sideways. And when it hits,
Meal.
High side.
when it hits that concrete or the asphalt, and it's just like a clank when the bike hits the ground, and everybody's like, "Oh," you know.
Of course, I jump up like nothing's wrong.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
One.
yeah. I'm
All
like,
right.
oh man, you know, like, oh, this is not the way to start. Like,
They all walk away like,
Yeah.
we don't know this guy. I wonder if
Yeah,
it's
like,
this
well,
isn't my dad.
well, my first thought was like, I mean, because we were kind of doing GNCCs. Like, did somebody not tell him this was not a GNCC start? You know, you don't have to get the whole shot here. You know, I mean, it's like,
Was he the only one coming off the ramp? Too?
Oh, no, there was 4 of
It
us
was-
up there.
Yeah.
it wasn't a
Yeah.
single
You didn't
one.
wipe
Yeah.
anybody else out.
no,
No.
he didn't.
They did
No.
3 or 4 people starting.
There's probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3
you
or
know.
4 guys up
Yeah.
there. And I still remember that guy going, slow, slow. And I
Well, didn't he say slippery, slippery? or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that?
slippery, slippery.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that guy and said, hey, man, I'm a cross-country racer. What are you talking about, you know?
Slippery, I don't know English.
Well, you know,
I don't know Italian.
Yeah.
This is kind of just an odd thought that hit my mind as we were kind of scheduling this. It's like, so in '96 we fly over to Finland. You're doing the 6 days, and we're just going to watch, right? But I remember we were going. I think we were riding in the back of your pickup or something on the way to the airport, and I was thinking, you know, Randy's in the senior A class, and you know, at that time is because I was probably 14,
13, 14.
13,
yeah,
14 years
14,
old,
Yeah.
thinking like, wow, senior A class or senior class, like, wow, you know, no, I mean, no offense, like, man, that's old. You know, that's old.
God, what's his old guy?
Who's in the senior A class next year?
You?
And I'm thinking to myself, like, comparing, you know what I mean? Like,
Did you go?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, oh no,
Did you go next year?
no,
Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
6 days?
Yeah,
No.
go to 6 days.
Got
Then.
to.
Oh, yeah.
no. I'd have to
Man,
pull my
did it
kids out of
here.
their private school and get a refund on their tuition.
That's
But,
okay.
yeah.
That'll pay for
Oh, yeah,
your
send them to Swanton.
Yeah,
for the
racing.
year.
Yeah. I might have to pull them out of school and put them to work.
There you go.
I mean, you could pull them out. I know a couple families that you could just put
Yeah.
them on with.
Yeah, why not? But I, you know, just
Eat
you
the
think about
microphone,
that, like
Andy.
it points to your life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, of course, my boys are younger than what Cody and I was at
Right,
that time.
right.
You know,
But,
so it'd been
yeah.
difficult. It'd be difficult now.
Oh,
But
well, like you're saying, though, I can remember when I was in my 20s, you know, that I'd hear about, well, when I first started doing the GNCCs, I think I just turned 30 to get in the vet class. And I'd hear them talk about the seniors. I thought, man, why don't those old guys just hang it up? Well, what, you know, how long are you guys going to keep doing this stuff,
Right.
you know? Well, then,
then you get in the class.
yeah.
And you're like,
Well, you know, that was our worst thing we ended up doing. We were supposed to go. My friend of mine out in Arizona, Marty, was going to ride Romaniacs in is it the silver? One of the, you know, it's more of a trail. I wouldn't say a trail ride, but it's more of nothing major and intense and stuff. So we were going to go do that here a few years ago, and so Andrew and I were going to go over and pit for him and work with him and help him and my wife. You know, things were sort of things weren't going really well over that way. I mean, not, you know, I don't know if Romania was bad, but she just kept watching what was going on over there, and she just said, "Man, I really don't want you to go." So we had plane tickets. We were going to rent a bike. You know, we would rent a bike for him and stuff. So we had everything all ready to go. And about a month earlier, we said, "He's like, Lori's just should have gone."
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I think
hopefully
Cody did Romania, didn't he?
Yeah.
The trail
Cody-
ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, him
trail
and
ride.
Al went over there.
Then you
Yeah.
do it twice?
Yeah, I
Or
think
once?
he did
Yeah.
do it twice. I
He did.
think so.
He was
Twice.
on our.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did twice,
He
right?
did twice. I think he said twice.
So, hey, I really hate to put an end to this, but you know, we've been almost 2 hours.
Has it
Is
really?
it really?
Yes, and
yeah.
we do it
Maybe
at 7:30.
Oh, geez. Huh?
7:30.
Was it
I'm not gonna
7:30?
make
So
it
what
work
we
in the
didn't
morning.
get to do
I know, I might
is
be late for work
we didn't ask you,
tomorrow.
Randy, what have you been doing for the last 40, 50 years to provide money to be able to go do a little racing? So we'll give you a little plug on what you do for a business.
Oh, it's just my septic tank and sewer work that I've been doing. That's personal business, you know.
So around here, you got your porta potties.
Yep.
Yep.
Coleman Portable.
Yep. So we've got, we know that because we have them at the track.
Yep.
And you've got that. Plus
And
you
then
put in
septic
septic
tank,
systems
yep,
and pump
septic
them and all
and
that kind of
cleaning
stuff.
and all that
So-
stuff. That's
And how
all.
long have you been doing that?
Well, believe it or not, over 50 years, you know, a lot of people, I'll be on a job and I'll say, I've been doing this 50. And say, oh, you're not old enough. And I go, well, I'm 65. Well, I started running around with my dad when I was 12, 14 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's all I've ever did all my life.
Yeah.
And what do you do, Mandy?
Time flies. I'm office manager there, So I kind of run the office. I take care of the bookwork. This year I've been actually delivering toilets. Yeah, I've been out delivering July, August.
Well, I heard Randy was out delivering here the other day too. I think Asa was telling me that he even had to get Randy out.
Yeah, I
delivering
think
some
I
stuff.
had him do the Metro Parks.
Yeah.
They called on a Saturday, and I was at home
Just
with
shorthanded.
the boys.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Can't find no
everybody
help.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course, you're also a mom.
yeah. That's why I've been joking tonight about the whole, Mandi Mastin racer. Seems like the last 5 years I'm not Mandi, I'm mom. Even to Dave, go talk to mom. So I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, but they're getting to the age now where Levi's raced over at Matt's, at your guys' the Toledo Trail Rider race.
Yeah.
He did the Stasic. That was his first race. I'm not pushing it. I mean, I would like him to do a lot of things. If he wants to race, he wants to race. But I honestly think he's got the bug. I mean, he loves being on the Stasic. So
Well, yeah.
he wants to ride he does want to ride we have a PW50, but he's just not tall enough yet. So, and I don't want to put him on early until he can touch.
Yeah.
I mean, I see some kids on those bikes with training wheels and not touching, and I'm like, why?
We tried the
There's
training
just-
wheels with Ethan,
Yeah.
and my youngest son. We were at the track, and my youngest son was following him around. Got all the way out back, and there's a bowl turn out there, and he went through the bowl turn, caught a rut, started over the bank, and fortunately, my son thought enough he rammed the front wheel of the little PW. And straightened it back out again. So instead of going over, he actually went on around.
Nice.
And after that, it's like, okay, no more training wheels.
Right.
This-
Yeah.
We got to do something different because this is not good, So he's actually that's his little 50 over there. But
the Husky?
yeah,
Imagine that, the
yeah,
Husky.
So, yeah, Husqvarna.
Well, we've talked about that, not to digress about it, but you and I have talked, just how like we, kind of have similar philosophies on the kids of letting the sport come to them, because it's like,
If they want to do it.
if you go crazy about it and push and push and push, then they're not going to have any fun. And then that's what it's all about. So,
Well, for example, remember Cody in the early years?
yeah.
He'd want to show up at the races, and he wanted all the nice graphics, all the trick parts on it. I'm talking back when he had his RM80.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I thought, wow, he's just going to be a showboater forever. Then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I just started pushing. I say, if that's what you want to do, and then gradually got where he wanted, started
the
racing.
best bike he ever rode was that electric bike that I let him ride.
The Alta.
Cody.
Oh,
He did he was running sweep.
Yes, at the Hare Scramble. Yeah.
Don't mess with that. He looked so good on that. That was a good bike, No.
He scared the snot out of me on that bike because him and I were doing a sweep together, and I didn't know he was
Oh, you
behind
didn't know
me.
he was behind you?
And all of
Couldn't
a
hear
sudden,
you?
I'm like going down the trail, and all of a sudden, he's like, "Zzz," right by me. I'm like, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Just like, what in the
No
world?
warning, me
No
too.
warning.
Yep.
No warning. You said that was the first time you ever heard tires running on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, or the chain slap.
Yeah.
Like you never.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You never
that
hear
was a
that.
big thing. You could tell when that. Of course, a good rider can feel the tire breaking loose, but for me, it was all of a sudden you could hear it. Now all of a sudden you could hear. You could actually hear the tire. Starting to spin. Like wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So made it a little bit. Of course, the electric, was great for throttle control too. You'll start learning because now you're hearing that tire actually spin versus hearing the motor.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. But a couple things.
Yep.
Real quick. Mitch Gerwin at Rider Power Sports.
It's his birthday today.
Today.
Is it?
Was
Oh,
it today
man,
or
he's
yesterday?
He's getting old. I'm not
yesterday,
sure.
the
Happy
17th.
birthday.
Yeah. Well, he was so nice today to offer his and her tank tops, Rider Power Sport tank tops. So what we're going to do with this podcast is they need an email address. So I don't know if you want to give me yours or mine or whatever it is. The email, it's the first person to email that address.
Toledo Track and Trail at gmail.com.
There you go. And not only do they have to email you, but they have to email you with the phrase Rider Tank Tops.
Rider tank tops. Now, can I email myself? Because we're going
Try
to
it all
Jamaica
you
next
want.
week.
Yeah,
so
try
I'm
it all.
thinking like my wife and I be
There you
looking.
go.
Yeah.
I
There
mean,
you go.
I've been working
Yeah.
out.
And you
I
probably-
look dang
you're
good.
ahead of
in
me.
tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Here's the thing. We
Wait, what
might
are
be
you
able to
gonna
get
do
to.
about the hat?
I think
I can't do much about the hair, Mandy.
when do you
But
leave? Yeah,
Are
when do
you
you
gonna wear a
when do you
hat
leave?
down there?
I'm going to have to. Or a lot of sunscreen.
When are you leaving?
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday. I'll give him a call. He owes you. He owes you something.
Yes,
I'm always up for T-shirts. So I
Marty is the
T-shirts and
T-shirt
hats.
connoisseur.
T-shirts and hats.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so you got the email again is
Toledo Track and Trail at gmail.com.
Email us Ryder, which is RYDR tank tops.
For his business name.
Yep.
Okay.
And the first person that does that will get a his and hers.
Anywhere in the world. We shipping them anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter. Ukraine.
Man, I forgot my.
Yugoslavia. China.
China.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send them over there and they'll knock them off and send us back
Well, they'll
100
get
more.
stuck on a boat somewhere.
Yeah, they're probably on the water.
If we can keep it in the lower 48, probably
lower
should
48
be better.
easy, yeah.
Yeah,
Because they may
exactly.
never show up.
Yeah, they may not get them.
They may never show up. So.
Well, we certainly appreciate you guys coming out. And as
It
we
was a
wrap,
lot of fun.
yeah,
It went by so quick.
it did.
Yeah.
We have to do a part 2.
Went by really fast.
We'll have to do part 2. We still, we talked to Randy at the time, but Mandy was over there. I saw her nodding off a couple times. And she didn't get to talk.
She was acting
mean-
like Biden when he was sleeping at his conference.
Yeah. Well, it's all.
Well, if you're the president, you can.
I mean,
anytime.
yawn.
You've probably already heard it.
Yeah, like
anyway.
Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Vincent
Vince.
yawned at the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
we did with him.
you probably had to reread it and make sure it was okay to say. So you
Exactly.
already read it. Like,
It's just his afternoon nap, I mean, what else? What other problems
yeah.
could you possibly
Well,
deal
yeah,
with?
when you
Squeeze
get
them in
that age, you
somewhere.
got to have those.
Yeah, you got to recoup.
I nap most of the time anyway. So I told the guys today if they need to get that autopilot in my truck so I can sleep while I'm driving.
That's coming. That technology's.
I'm
Oh,
hoping,
yeah,
I
I'm
seen
hoping
the
soon.
newest advertisement
Yeah.
on TV. Them guys are going like this.
Oh, the
doing
GMC commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
boy.
that's right around the corner.
A little quick question. What is the most important thing to leave the trail with?
With
Yep.
leave the
So-
trail with.
Yep. So when you come in from the trail, what's the best thing that you need to bring with you out of the trail?
Any trash? I mean, is that what?
Garbage.
Trash and
I was gonna
garbage.
say, good
I was gonna say yourself. I mean, make sure you bring yourself back.
trash and
Trash.
garbage. So we want to make sure that as we're out there, because if you notice,
Clean
we
them up.
get to. I've been in the middle of the mountains in Idaho and
See, okay.
seen a can
Garbage.
So pack it in,
Absolutely.
pack it out. So make sure that that's the most important thing to get out of there. With that in yourself, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you can't make it out, if you can't make it out, make sure you got trash in your backpack when they find you
Yes.
that you
Exactly.
picked up.
So as
Don't
we
leave your bike out there either.
yes.
I got yelled at one year for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where were you at?
Down in Florida, he wanted me to stay out all night in the woods in the swamp
Protect
with
it.
the alligators.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you were there. It was at
Was that bike week?
Yeah, it was at the alligator.
Yeah, I kept thinking somebody's going to steal the bike.
I get back to
Clear back in the swamp somewhere. Yeah.
I don't remember that story.
I don't know. Maybe it was just maybe you weren't down there that year.
No,
It was
I might
just
have.
Your dad.
I don't remember that
I had
one.
A bunch of years with that.
Well, we've had a lot of good memories, guys. We
Yes.
really had, and I appreciate every one of them. I tell you what, I don't know what the conversation was because I was a young lad, but how you convinced Dad and I to start doing the off-road stuff.
Started in
Radars.
Indiana. No, actually started in Indiana.
Was it?
Yep. Your dad, if I remember right,
You went to an enduro with
it
you.
went over. I don't know if he went. I think I run into him at the forest. I don't know where
It was Milan. Because
forest
we
or
were
mine
doing
or something. And I said, hey, you ought to go over to Indiana and try one of these enduros.
Yeah.
And he had, and if I remember right, it was a 4-stroke Honda.
XR
250.
400, 250. Maybe it was a 250.
It was a 250. And yeah, what that, and I remember it was over at, I'm about 99% sure asking, but I think it was Goshen. And then he kind of got hooked. And,
Yeah.
And then from then on, it's been history.
Thank God.
It's easy to get hooked though off road. I mean, it is when you start doing a GNCC or enduro. It's just such a different ride.
But like you said, I think it was.
Yeah.
We probably at Milan got talking, and I said,
Yeah.
we're going to be going to an
Yeah, because
enduro.
you and I were racing against each other. And then,
But I'm
But you guys
99%
knew
sure it
each
was.
other before Milan, didn't you? Like back in the day from school, or no, through people you didn't
Who?
prior to that.
No.
Your dad went to Springfield, right?
well, Dad, you guys knew each other a little
Knew
bit
each
in
other,
high
but
school.
we
That's what I'm
kinda-
saying,
yeah,
a
yeah.
little
know,
bit. Through people, like
yeah,
Don
we kind
or-
of threw, but then
Yeah.
all of a
Okay.
sudden, once the bike thing come around, then we
Got it.
started
Right.
kind of getting hooked
Yeah.
up. And,
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive his first race off road was over. I think it was
Maybe it was
Goshen.
Legionnaire, maybe? Maybe
No, I think it
Hairstyle?
was Goshen.
Was it Enduro?
And I think it was Goshen asking me at an Enduro. I could be wrong, but I think he went to Goshen, and I remember we used to park in that warehouse area, that factory area. I that keeps ringing a bell, but I could be
Yes.
wrong. But
Yes.
and I thought, well, he's never going to want to come back because I don't know if he finished or not. I can't remember, but I thought, yeah, he's probably not going to like this.
Next thing you know, we're
40 years later,
showing back up.
30 years later, man, we're still doing it.
Still doing it. It's a lot of fun. Well, as we wrap up, we want to thank our guests, Randy and Mandi Mastin, the racer, and Mandi Mastin, the mother. Would it be
Mom.
2.0
Mom.
or times 2? Mandi Mastin times 2?
Yeah, times 2.
Whatever you
Say
want.
2.0.
2.0,
there you
and
go.
then 3.0 when I leave this stage and I head back into the trail moms.
There you go. There you go. We also want to thank our audience for supporting the podcast, too. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to thank AJ for hanging in there tonight and running the boards as well. Can't thank him enough. Until next time, get out and ride. And remember to leave the sport you love better than you found it. On behalf of my co-host, Marty Wheeler, I'm Matt Bucher. Stay safe, everyone.